Hello, Christian here. Welcome to Christian Mission. Craig Scarberry of Indiana maintains he lost joint custody of his 3 children because of his agnosticism. As evidence, he cites statements alluding to his irreligious views written by presiding Judge George Pancol, which state Scarberry did not participate in the same religious training as the mother. The father was agnostic. When the father considered himself a Christian, the parties were able to communicate relatively effectively. Following Scarberry, liberals, atheists, and agnostics have quote-mined Pancol's comments, spinning them for their own political in what can be seen as nothing short of a fear-mongering agenda, insisting not only this man lost custody due to his agnosticism, but that this represents religion encroaching upon the fundamental rights and freedoms as established by the First Amendment. They have used Pancol's words in a sense as a call to arms for all irreligious to unite to fight this supposed encroachment before we become a full-blown theocracy. Pancol's statements, however, merely relay the fact of how the couple's relationship operated cohesively when both shared the same religious perspective. It is simply an honest observation. Scarberry claims he and his lawyer have gone through the decision, concluding it was based on religious considerations. Of course, his irreligious brethren agree. Nowhere in Pancol's comments does it state or even imply religious considerations to be a part of the court's ruling, unless irrefutable contrary evidence surfaces. It is irrational and illogical to assume otherwise. And even then, it must be determined whether or not such considerations were the sole or dominant criteria on which the decision is based. So long as they do not dominate the decision-making process, religious considerations are allowed in custody cases where contesting parties have competing religious interests and are a normal part of such cases. If Scarberry had been denied custody due to his agnosticism, it is logical to conclude the judge would have further denied him the right to teach his children other religious or irreligious perspectives, as happened in MacLagan v. Klein, 1996. Scarberry, though, has no such limitations and is free to teach his children other religions or philosophies, like agnosticism. However, what those who are assuming otherwise, and the irresponsible media, which is refusing to clarify the matter, are ignoring, is the evidence presented in court, which points to the more probable reason Scarberry's joint custody has been revoked. As reported by the Herald Bulletin, this other evidence used by Judge Pancol in his decision show Scarberry to have anger management issues, used profanity in front of the children, and harassed his ex-wife by sending her an excessive amount of text messages. Further, in April 2010, his ex-wife had gotten a restraining order against Scarberry because of his attempts to harass and intimidate her at her workplace and his random and unexpected visits to her home at different hours of the day and night. Scarberry claims that evidence has been presented in court which purport to refute these latter allegations. As far as I know, As of now, no evidence of such refutation is available to the public. Thus, there is more to the court's decision than these atheists, agnostics, liberals, the media, Scarberry himself, are admitting, considering, investigating, or of which they are even aware. It seems those who are claiming Scarberry lost custody because of his agnosticism are motivated by demagoguery and all paranoid delusions of an encroaching theocracy, and thus are solely focusing on the judge's comments about Scarberry's irreligiousness, spinning them to fit these motivations and delusions by ignoring or rewriting the reality and wider context behind the court's decision. They are further sidestepping the reality of custody battles in America, where, for perfectly legitimate reasons, it is normal for religious considerations to be part of the court's decision-making process. Until next time, God bless you.